friends, Leslie from A Friend to Knit With. Welcome to episode 40 of A Friend to Knit With podcast. Like I said, my name is Leslie. I can be found on Instagram as Leslie Friend. I am friend to friend on Ravelry, and my blog name is A Friend to Knit With. Today is Monday, May 29th. It is Memorial Day. If you live in the United States and honor that holiday, had a nice long weekend and a kickoff to your summer. I've been knitting a lot this weekend, so hopefully you guys had some time to do that as well. I haven't been on here for a while, and I actually did film a podcast on Saturday. I tried to edit it, and I was just all over the place, talking really quickly. I could barely follow my own stories. So I'm going to try to slow down a little bit for this podcast. I'm going to do the usual format: on my needles, off my needles, and soon to be on my needles. The last time I was on here was sometime in April, like the middle of April, because then we left for a 3-week vacation. So I feel a little rusty. We did have an amazing time in Spain and Portugal. I thought I would knit a lot more than I did. I took this sweater that I was wearing, thinking I was going to finish it, and I took yarn for a pair of socks. We were walking the Camino, and I thought, a portion of the Camino, and I thought that I could carry that on my walk, which I did, and I worked on it, and then by the end of that part of our trip, I ended up leaving it in a hotel room because I was making space for different projects. Not different projects, things to buy and whatever. I don't usually shop for clothes when I'm away. I did buy a few things, so I was running out of space in my suitcase, so I did have to leave some things behind. So I always write a note and just say that I couldn't fit them in my suitcase, and I hope they would go to a good home. And hopefully the things I left did, like the yarn, big cake yarn. It was just a pair of vanilla socks. I don't know, I just didn't like the color combination I was working on, and I thought maybe somebody else can enjoy it instead. So I left that behind. And I, of course, did not finish this sweater while I was there. I knit on it and finished it last weekend. So I will tell you a little bit about the Camino because so many people asked. So it is definitely magical, an amazing trip. We only dipped our toes in it. We went from Vigo, we did the Portugal side. So the Portugal side starts in Lisbon, and you can walk all the way up to Santiago de Compostela, to the church there. We started in Vigo, so it's like 52 or 3 miles, and that's all I could get my husband to do, which I said, I will take it. So, but it is magical. You walk through villages, you walk through farms, through vineyards. You see some locals. I love to walk by houses and see how people are gardening and planting their pots and things like that. So that was amazing. I didn't walk by any yarn shops. And to tell you the truth, on the whole trip, I only went to one yarn store. So then after that, we rented a car and drove along the coast and ended up in Bilbao. But we went to San Sebastian. And in San Sebastian, I went to a yarn store there, but she didn't speak English. They speak Basque there. And I don't speak very much Spanish. I don't speak any Spanish, but yes, I can order a coffee and a glass of wine. Very important things to talk about. But she didn't understand anything I had to say. And I had 24 hours without internet on my phone for some awful reason. And I could not pull up the pattern I wanted to purchase a sweater from Ravelry. So, that was a wash. And my husband had left me in the store thinking I would spend like an hour, and he went to get a coffee. And then when I just was like, I don't know where he is. It was one of those moments, when you leave your home now without your phone, and you kind of panic. Yeah, I had an hour like, okay, no one here speaks my language, barely. I mean, I could probably get back to my hotel, but then my husband wouldn't know where I was. It was one of those weird moments. But I just sat on the corner and waited for him, and he ended up showing back up, but I was yarnless. And yeah, so that was the only yarn store I went to. And I saw one knitter. She did not speak my language either, but she saw me knitting and then had to hug me. And I had to hug her back because she said, I'm a knitter too, in her own language. So that was really fun. But yes, other than that, I knit every morning with coffee. And, you know, if we had any downtime, but it was very rare. So I just didn't knit that much, unfortunately, on the plane, which is my favorite. I did. So I did. So anyhow, this was finished last weekend. This is a daily pullover by Purl Soho. Did this used to be a free pattern? I think it used to be a free pattern, but it is not a free pattern anymore. As a matter of fact, well, I'm going to run and get my other two because I forgot them. I want to show you what they look like and the ones I've made. And I'm going to pull it up to see how expensive it is. So hold on a second. All right, I'm back. I looked up the pattern. It's a paid pattern now. I'm not sure. I don't think I paid for it, but it's $9.80. So it is a paid pattern, and it's the fourth one I have made. I absolutely adore this pattern. Not only like making it, but wearing it is just, it's one of those very wearable sweaters. So I made my first one in black, and this is kettle black. This is worn. I actually took this to Spain. I don't have very many clothes when I travel. I had 3 weeks in a carry-on. This was the only sweater I took. I took a friend to friend and my Saturday shrug. Is that the Saturday one? Saturday shrug. But I wore this so often, and then I've worn it since I've been home. So you can tell I wasn't even tired of it if I'm still wearing it. But it's just a very basic daily pullover. So I made it in that color, and then I made it in the nutmeg, ground nutmeg, I think it's called. I love it. I love the detail here. This is just a little something special, I feel like. Can you see that? I just love the V-neck and how it comes together, which is very easy to achieve. I also made my daughter a black one. She wears it all the time in Spain, where she's living, just until July 1st. So anyhow, I think I'm going to even make another one. I really would like a navy blue one. The navy, the denim blue, and the linen quill is like one of my favorite colors. I made a half and half triangles wrap. In that, I actually thought about taking apart my half and half triangles wrap. No, I'm not going to. Nadine, my friend, walked me off the edge with that one. And I'm just going to get it out to wear and maybe travel with. So I think that's a great idea. But I just love the navy so much. I was like ready to cast on for a navy one. I will say something about the wheat flower. That's the color of this one. I'm not sure if, let me show you like the blue. Here's the blue. It has just the little pieces. I don't know if they're linen, but the little white flecks in there. I feel like this is a lot smoother of a yarn, and therefore I'm going to show you what I think happened. So I don't purl as tightly as I knit, and you can see that's pretty apparent here. Can you see it? But I know how to solve that if that's your problem too. And then the body seems super consistent in the gauge, and you know, I don't really care. That doesn't bother me at all. My husband couldn't even see it, but I can see it, but it, like I said, it doesn't bother me. But if that's your problem too, then if you use interchangeable needles, and you know, when you're knitting with your right hand needle and the stitches are all coming to your right hand needle, you use the size that you're getting gauge. And then if you're loose with the other, or vice versa, you can do it either way. Then on your left side, this would be, so let's say this is an 8, this would be a 7. You just go down 1 needle size. So when you purl, it's all going onto the 7, and then it'll be more consistent. So hopefully you understand that. I could have done that. It wasn't, I actually thought it would block out, is why I really didn't. And I thought this will block out, but this has been blocked and it did not block out. So just, I don't ever do a swatch. I shouldn't say that here, but I rarely do a swatch unless I'm changing yarn, but I wouldn't re-swatch this. I've already made 3 other sweaters with it, but it is different. Like it's not as thick, I feel like. And you know, maybe the light color, maybe this does show, or maybe this happened with these and it just doesn't show because of the darker colors. So anyhow, the other thing, I love a twisted rib, so you can really see it on this one. And I did the twisted rib, which is just knitting in the back loop and purling regularly. And I love the way that looks. And I just did a regular rib on this one. So as you can see, just a flat knit 1 purl 1 rib. And yeah, I like it. I was talking to my friend Christine, I do a Italian bind off, not the tubular bind off. So you don't have to do the setup rows when you do the Italian bind off. And Anne Vincel, I'll put the link below. She has a great tutorial for it, but I think it's the same 3rd step and not, you don't have the previous 2 rows. I think, I don't know. I just do the Italian bind off mostly when I bind off, except on my work in progress, which I just learned a new bind off, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I absolutely love these sweaters. I truly can't say enough about them. The wearability factor is super high in my opinion. I like to wear, you know, I actually like to make things that I want to wear a lot, and instead of a lot of the novelty pieces that just don't get worn that often. So that's why these really fit my wardrobe. So yes, that's my only thing off my needles. And I only actually have one thing on the needles that I am loving at the moment. It is gonna get warm this week though, and I'd love to finish this so I can start a couple of other projects. Hold on. All right, so this is, I was supposed to be doing a test knit for Katrine over at Onling, but I went away and the yarn didn't come, and so the pattern is actually out right now, so you can look that up. But okay, that's the back. But it's a raglan pullover, top down, with just a little something special. It has a garter ridge coming up the sides and a garter raglan just over the 3 stitches. And then I bound off this morning, and that is also done in garter. I did a stretchy bind off that she has in this pattern that I had never done, and you guys maybe have done it. So you just knit 2 stitches, and then those stitches are on the right hand needle, and you insert the needle in from the left to the right into the front of it, and then you just knit that. So that's 1, and then you knit 1 and so that'll be then on your right hand needle, and then you knit those 2 together and all the way across, and you do that pretty tightly, but then it's a pretty stretchy bind off. I don't know if it's that one that I hear a lot of people talk about. Is it Amy's stretchy bind off or Jenny's stretchy bind off? Might be Jenny. But this is very stretchy, and I absolutely loved it. I have never done it, and yeah, it produces. So I think on something like this, you know, you don't need to do an Italian bind off or a tubular bind off, because you don't need those stitches to just continuously run over. This is just because you have the garter rows, you can do a bind off like that, and it's not going to produce, you know, it's just going to produce an extra row, and not like, you don't need those stitches to continuously flow under. So I am loving this. I am using Onling's yarn, and it is 100% Shetland wool, and then the mohair is, let me see the content. It's silk and mohair. It's 70% super kid mohair and 30% silk. Did I say silk mohair? Super kid mohair and 30% silk. So I feel like this 100% Shetland wool, this is like a rustic log cabin in the woods. And then this is like luxurious hotel. And I feel like the two make such a nice combination. Like, you know, it's just a good combination. Now I will say, because, you know, a lot of people have allergies to the mohair and can't wear it, and a lot of people to a rustic wool. So this probably wouldn't be the combination you would want for the sweater, but if you can do a rustic and you can do mohair, it's just dreamy. It has just the little bit of, you know, halo, and it feels really dense and durable, but lightweight. So I don't know, it's great. I'm super excited about it, and it just is on size US 8, so it goes fairly quickly. And yeah, I am loving working on that. I'm on the sleeves now using the ChaioGoo. I've mentioned these before, but if you don't want to do magic loop on the sleeves and you need a small circumference, these are amazing. I would like every size. I just have the they go 4s through 8s, and I'm using the 8s, but you have long needle tips and then shorter needle tips, and you have 3 different cord lengths, so you can continuously move down as your sleeve gets smaller when you're doing those decreases. But I purchased these in Bozeman, Montana at Stix Yarn, and I know at the time she had a lot in stock. So if you're in the market for some needles, I also, you know, they go so much faster. I don't know actually how I lived without these for so long. So I will link everything below. I don't get anything. It's just sharing what friends do, share their knowledge and their goods. So anyhow, that is all I have on my needles right now. I have some things I want to get on the needles, and I'm like really desperate for one. Not really desperate, but you know, and I don't need anything, but I'd like one. So I want to make a friend to friend in this blue. I think it's called Magic Hour, and it's out of the Hue and Me, the friend to friend. I've mentioned them before, but the little pop over. And, oh, here it is. I don't have one here, but that's what it looks like. And, you know, you can make this in a couple of days. But I want a blue one because I'm going to talk a 3-minute sewing section. I'm not a seamstress. I'm not anything like Marilisa. If you want to watch some amazing things come out of someone's sewing machine. And Karen, too. You are so amazing. I can't really even imagine sewing that way, but I know that knitters, a lot of them like to sew as well. So I've had this book in stitches for a really long time, and last weekend I got out my sewing machine because there's one thing in here that I have been making for a long time. It has some really great projects, but this one is my just thing I like to sew. And it's their lounge pants in here. And I used old sheets, and this time I used some of my kids' old sheets, and I have, this is a pair that I made out of an old chambray sheet. and I don't have to cuff them or anything. And this one even had a hole in it. I don't care. I made a gingham pair and a white pair just out of a gingham sheet and a white sheet that were my kids'. What's great is they've been washed a lot, so they're super soft. So don't throw away those sheets. And usually the big cuff on the top of a sheet is like the perfect cuff for the bottom. This pair I didn't get to do it because there was a huge hole in the top, and I didn't really want that along the bottom. So yeah, I just used the bottom of the sheet for the cuff. But I want friend to go with my lounge wear. So I am gonna make a friend. I forgot to show you guys what this looked like standing up, but it really is just a basic, basic sweater. I don't know. Love it. Okay, so that is gonna go on the needles. The other thing, I mentioned this Barocco vintage yarn the last time, and I asked if anyone had knit with it and what they thought. And I will tell you, I don't want to bash the yarn, but nobody wants to, knit with something that isn't going to look well, and we do want to all share that. Some people said that they haven't had a problem, that maybe their new, run out of the mill was better than before. But a lot of the previous people that had used it, it pilled like crazy and they didn't like it. Still going to use it because I bought it, but I'm not going to use it for the champagne cardigan. I'm going to use it for the Corran cardigan. So this is Crayon Knits, Rebecca, and I absolutely love this pattern. And mesh is having a moment this summer, or summer, fall, winter. It'll probably be around for a little while. And I really wanted a mesh sweater. So I'm going to knit the short sleeve version out of this Barocco vintage. And yeah, I think it'll be great. And I'll report back, let you know how it holds up. I think that this mesh will be better than a stockinette. If it is really pilly, I just don't think it'll have that much opportunity to pill as just a solid stockinette piece of fabric. And I think it'll be super wearable in this color. I had somebody leave a comment on my Instagram this last week because I've been posting like how I wear some of my sweaters, and on Friday I wore a pair of cream pants with this sweater. I was on my way to meet my friend Kina, and she said, don't you want to wear color, and how important it is to wear color. And I've just never worn a lot of color. It's just been my thing. Usually autumn shades, I had knit with those in the past, and I will still, but the bright shades just don't really suit me, I guess. I have a lot of pink in my skin, so pinks to me don't really, do much, although I might make a pink sweater. But so anyhow, there is a new pattern out by Jessie Maid that I saw Jackie Rose knit a little tank. It's called the Mini Mock tank, I think. And I would love to have one of those in my wardrobe for the summer. It's just, a little tank that you can wear with your higher waisted pants that are flowy legs. Sometimes you need a little bit of a tighter top. And it's using a US 4, so I thought perfect for my linen quill. So I have this, but look, that just, no. But it would be super cute. And I absolutely love this color. So I also could do a brown one, but then that's really not that summery. What I really want is the navy blue one. If this is enough yarn, this is all I have left, and I'll have to weigh it to see. Or I could, of course, do a black one, and then I could do a white one, and I have a little bit left from that. I only have those. could stripe it in these two colors. I could do a pale pink. That's usually a better color for me. So we'll see. But I also am going to be doing a test knit for Beth McDonald's Stone, her Starry Night pattern. I love it. It's not due until September, so I have a little bit of time. But it is out of linen quill, which is great. And I have enough probably to do, I would probably do the pale pink. I thought I was going to make, when I ordered all this yarn, I thought I was going to make more half and half triangles wraps. But and then it went on sale. So I thought I could do body pink, brown. I could do the white little stars. I really do love this combination. I think I thought I was going to make a half and half triangles wrap out of these two. But I don't know if in the summer, I mean in the winter, I would wear this bright up near my face. So anyhow, I have to play around with the colors and come up with it. Did you see any you thought might go? I have to use what I have for this because I just have been buying a lot of yarn and I want to use some of what I have. I did want to mention though that I had so many wonderful comments. I went away after my last podcast, so I really didn't have time to answer a lot of the comments, and I apologize. I always feel badly because we're friends, and I think that's what this is all about, is conversing. And I love to hear your stories and what you're working on, and you know, what's making you get out of bed every morning, which project you're flying out of bed for. And so I apologize. I'm going to still try to get through all those comments. I have a lot over on Ravelry as well. So if you haven't heard from me, I apologize. I hope to get to them soon. And yes, I hope you have a wonderful beginning of your summer. I am very excited for porch knitting. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go do that right now. And my husband's going to barbecue. We're just going to have a little outside vegetables, and what did he get? I think he had bought some hot dogs. I think that's what he is going to have. I'm going to have some grilled vegetables and a salad, and I'm going to go bake some bread. So anyhow, hopefully you are enjoying your Monday and wherever you are in the world. And until I see you again, it's not going to be as long the next time. And I will be back with another finished object and something on my needles. Until the next time, take care. I'll see you soon.